Hey guys, I'm going to be showing you how to operate the equipment for the tension testing lab. So as you can see here, we've got a computer tower down there, monitors here, got a keyboard, and we have the tension testing control panel there. Here is the tension tester. These are the grips. This is where the sample will be going. And this is the machine that operates the grips. There's a motor in here that will spin these threads here. It's going to operate it so that way it moves these threads up and down, which will pull the top grip and pull samples apart. So what you guys are going to be testing for this first lab, the tension testing lab, you're going to be testing, everyone will test this. This is a dog bone sample of aluminum. So everybody's going to test one of these, and every group will get a different plastic. This plastic in particular is high density polymer, but this is going to be just one of the plastics that you may get, but there are 4 in total. That will be determined based on which station you're on. So in the event that the computer and the testing device isn't on, it should be, but if it's not, just turn on the power button for the computer, which is right there, and for the control panel for the tension testing device, there's a little switch in the back there. Like I said, these should already be on. You shouldn't have to worry about that. As you can see, this is now on. It's reading method 1, and pretty soon a display will pop up. And the computer is now on. Now, if you're just coming into the lab and the computer's already on and the control panel's on, great, you're all set. Then what you need to do is press user. So just press user, double click. Now that we're on the desktop, what we're going to do, we're going to open a program called WinCom. So double click that. WinCom is the program that we're going to use to transfer the data from this to the computer. And what's really important for this lab, make sure you guys bring a flash drive. These computers are not hooked up to the internet, so make sure you bring a flash drive so you can get your data from the flash drive to then bring home and analyze. So now that we're here, let's go home here. So this should be a display up here. We've got our newtons here, which is our force reading from our load cell. This is the load cell here. It also gives us our displacement in millimeters. And the last one is our displacement rate in millimeters per minute. So right now it's at 0 millimeters per minute. That's what we want. We have the buttons here. You guys shouldn't have to worry about this too much. I'll have it all set up. But if you want to change some things, for instance, we may need to change the displacement rate based on what plastic you guys get. If I hit Control, Set Test Profile. Now we're on Control Channel Segment A. This is currently the position, so we're just going to hit Enter, the green button. Now Seg A, this is the displacement rate. You're going to set this to whatever you need. So for the aluminum, we're going to do 2 millimeters per minute. So you hit Escape, then type in 2 for 2 millimeters per minute. Hit Enter. We don't want the load to change, so hit Enter. We want the test to continue until it breaks, so hit Enter. And when it says Create Seg B, hit 2 for No. Then hit Escape. It's going to save our method. Just give it a second, and now we're all set. So once you have your displacement rate properly configured, you're going to take whatever sample you're using. So in this case, because we have set for the aluminum, you're going to take your aluminum sample, and you're going to place it in the bottom clamp. So let me tighten this a bit. So once this is placed inside, you're going to tighten it. Just give me 1 second here. So once it's placed inside, you're going to tighten it so that way, make sure you line it up. Make sure it's straight this way. and that it's also straight this way. So I'm going to tighten it, tighten the bottom clamp first, make sure it's nice and tight. Check to make sure it's straight. It doesn't necessarily need to be in the center as long as it's straight. And then you're going to take the top clamp, and you're going to tighten it. Make sure that's nice and tight there. My sample's straight. My sample's relatively straight there. When you guys do this, try and get the grips to be even. Then once we know that's all set, we're going to go here. To zero this device, you're going to press 0, the number 0. Then you're going to give it a second. And then once this menu pops up, hit 1 for both. We want to zero both the load and the position. So hit 1. Wait for this number to reach 0. This isn't going to be perfectly 0. There are a few reasons for that, but that's okay if it's fluctuating a little bit. As long as it's not something like 5 or 10 newtons, you want to be below 1 newton. So now that we have our displacement rate at the correct value and our sample is in the grips and it's tightened, you will hit the start button. And in a second, you'll notice the displacement rate is going. So I'm going to stop this test because I don't actually want to break this sample. Another thing that you actually want to check before you start, if you hit Control, right here, number 2, you don't want this to say compression. You want it to say tension because we're doing tension testing. So right now, if I continued that test, these grips would have gone in compression and compressed this sample. It would have ended up bending and breaking. I don't want that. I want this to be in tension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 2. Now we're in tension. I'm going to hit Escape. It's going to save the profile. I'm going to zero it again by hitting 0. We're going to zero both. Now both are relatively zeroed. So now hit Start to start your test. And now it should be pulling in tension, which it is. And then in just a second, I'll show you guys what to do when the test has finished.